What's up, sports fans, and welcome to another episode of the 3Gen Podcast. I'm your host, Noah, joined by my co-hosts,
Grandpa.
and
Uncle Johnny.
All right, let's get into this. Was a kind of a crazy week when it comes to sports news. Not a lot of NFL injuries, surprisingly, but a bunch of other news. First off, we have Nick Chubb could return very soon, and for this Browns offense, they really need the help. This Browns team looks like one of the worst teams in the National Football League. Next, we have Doug Peterson is on the hot seat. The only team in the National Football League that doesn't have a win. They're 0-4, and ultimately, I think the Jaguars should fire him. He has not looked good at all. 0-4, and if so, do you think there's a chance that Bill Belichick ends up going to Jacksonville?
I don't think he wants to.
I don't know. Florida beaches, coaching a team in Florida. He wants to come back to football. It's just whether or not where he goes. There's rumors that he could go to the Jets with Robert Saleh on the hot seat, maybe. We'll see whatever happens with that.
Well, I don't know. I think the game has passed him by. They'll try. Everyone's going to try to find another Dan Campbell. So they'll hire a guy that's 20 or 35 years old or 40 years old.
And a lot of people think that's going to be Ben Johnson if the Lions can win the Super Bowl, because Ben Johnson only came back because he wants to win a Super Bowl with the Detroit Lions,
right?
Team that gave him a chance. Next, we have Ramondre Stevenson could be benched due to fumbling for this Patriots team. Antonio Gibson could be brought into that starting role. Next, big NBA news. We have Cat got traded to the Knicks, and the Wolves got a first, Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. How big of a trade is this for both teams?
He's a black hole no matter where he goes. So good luck, New York. I mean, honestly, that's been the knock on him forever. He doesn't pass as a four-letter word. So that's tough to play with.
They did need a center, though. So
Julius Randle's a good player, though. I mean, he's not a bad player.
But he's had health issues.
Well, he's had a lot of health issues, but so has Anthony Towns. So I don't know that they really gained a whole lot by doing that, except maybe the chemistry was bad. And they've only gotten so far for the last 3 years with the team they had. So I give them credit for trying to do something.
Yeah.
And Minnesota's been a really good team. So
yeah, they had to do something. You're right, John.
There's not enough room on that team for two stars with Edwards and Anthony Towns. So now they know who their main guy is, because Julius Randle's a role player even on his best day. Right. So yeah, I think this was a good move for Minnesota.
A lot of people
I'm not sure they're going to win a title, but
a lot of people love the move mostly for the Knicks and not the Wolves. I actually like this for the Wolves because they replaced their 2031 pick because they traded back to get what's his name from Kentucky, the point guard.
Yeah,
they got
the little guy. Yep.
The little guy, yeah. And they got their first round pick for him. They got a role player. They got Cat out of the system to give Anthony Edwards more space. I love the move ultimately for the Wolves.
So do I. Yeah, I agree.
More trade news, but this time NFL. Devontae Adams requests a trade. In my opinion, I think this is just a done deal. The Jets and the Raiders are going to get a deal done eventually. He's going to go back to be catching passes from Aaron Rodgers.
I think they're looking for a lot of help for Rodgers. I'm not sure Rodgers is going to pan out like they thought he was. He's starting to feel his age, I think.
That offense just looks awful in New York.
Yeah,
they lost 10-9 to the Jets. I mean, you can blame your kicker all you want, but scoring.
Yeah.
I mean, if he didn't hit that kick, scoring 12
points.
When
you pay Rodgers an ungodly sum of money for his age, I don't know.
That plays a factor too, but you got to blame the whole system. Breece Hall didn't do good at all. Garrett Wilson, I mean, you can blame the long sleeves too all you want to, but he has not looked good. Allen Lazard, surprisingly, has looked the best in that offense.
Right.
But Mike Williams doesn't look good at all either. So they have playmakers around the team. Something needs to change. Maybe it's the coaching. Maybe it's Aaron Rodgers' age.
Well, back in the old days, Rodgers could put a team on his back and take him pretty good. But now I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad coach for him.
Yeah.
Honestly.
A defensive-minded coach. I don't know. I don't like it. But next.
He's a Detroit guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's from Dearborn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Next we have MLB news. The Detroit Tigers are moving on in the playoffs. So are the Padres beating the Braves, which was surprising as well. But the Tigers, of all teams, moving on.
Well, the Tigers are going to be very dangerous. They're young. They're fearless. And they like to play ball just for the fun of playing ball.
Yeah. I mean, baseball's my jam, so
Yeah.
I love
Right.
it. But I think they're going to get smoked by the Cleveland.
Really?
We'll
Yeah,
see.
I don't think they can do this over a 5-game series. I think
Hmm.
they could do it in stretches, but Cleveland can really pitch. I mean, that's their thing. Our bullpen's
Yeah.
really good. Cleveland's is the best in the league. They have the
Right.
best closer in the league. If they can get a lead, it's done. I hope they win. I mean, I really do. My
Well,
heart
that's
is
what they
rooting for
said
them.
about Houston too. They said they had those 3 guys, 7th, 8th, and 9th, they had all locked up, and it didn't work
Yeah,
out for
no,
them.
that's what I mean. They're
Yeah.
working on special mojo right now. They shouldn't even
Right.
be here. So regardless of how it
Right.
turns out, it's been a
Right.
great year.
So how do you think this
Um,
Tigers team came out of nowhere and went on the stretch that they did?
Well,
too
one
young and
thing was
dumb.
Minnesota's collapse. That helped them a lot.
Yeah, didn't hurt,
You
but
know?
too young and dumb to care. I think.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Right. Right.
they don't play. They weren't worried about what they were playing for. They bought into what they were doing, and
Right.
everything that could go right for them has happened.
Yeah. And AJ Hinch has done a great job. I can give him
He's done a
credit.
fabulous job. I mean,
I hope
when
he
you
gets manager of the year. He deserves it. You know.
it's the playoffs and they still don't tell you who the starting pitcher for the next day is. I mean, if
know.
it's not
Right.
Scooble, it's
Right.
somebody else. They don't know
He
yet
said
until that
Scuba
day.
will start the first day, and the rest be pitching chaos. He said
Exactly
so.
right. He's
Yeah.
right. That's what I mean. It's like been smoke and mirrors, but it works. And in baseball, you
Yeah.
can pull this off. There was
So
a who was it? Not that long ago. A similar kind of thing happened in baseball. It was Tampa Bay a few years back. Snuck in and went all the way to the World Series.
Yeah.
So
Who
it can
knows?
happen.
Huh?
Baseball is like hockey. You get hot, and
Yeah.
you can ride that a really
So
long
how
way.
is this different from the past 10 years where the Tigers, usually always just young and dumb because they always trade their best players at the trade deadline, get a bunch
Right.
of young prospects and stuff. How is this different over the past 10 years compared to this year? Is it management? Is it not trading Scooble? How is
I think
what
not trading
changed?
Scuba, not only was it a good move, it helps the morale of the team too. It
Uh-huh.
shows them that they want to win.
Yeah, I just think they gambled and got lucky. They took
Yeah.
a chance. They got rid of all their veteran guys, and they took a chance that these younger guys would actually pan out, and they made room for them, which
That's
they
what
don't do too
surprises
much in
me.
baseball anymore. And every one of them has played well. I mean, even guys
Right.
that they sent down, like Torkelson early in the year because he was terrible, he's
Right.
actually contributed.
He
Parker
is.
Meadows was a plague early in the
Right.
season. Couldn't get rid of him fast enough, and now he's one of the better players on the team. It's like everything has literally fallen into place for them.
Right.
I
Right.
hope they can ride it all the way to the World Series, but this will be, to me, I'd rather play the Yankees than Cleveland in terms
Really?
of
That
matchups.
would be
Oh
an
yeah,
historic run.
matchups for the Tigers themselves. It
Mhm.
is very difficult to hit against the Indian or
Right.
the Guardians, whatever they are.
That's what shocks me that the Tigers have managed to do this with almost zero veteran experience.
None.
Right.
Oldest guy on the team's 28 years old. That's
That's
unheard of in baseball.
it's
I
insane.
mean, it just is. I mean, that is
Right.
just unheard of in baseball. They have nobody over 28, and that is just
Right.
unreal.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Next, let's
whatever
move
they're
on
doing, it
to
works. It's fun.
college
It's fun to watch,
football.
isn't it?
Let's go on to college football realignment. In this past week, kind of chaotic. We had
Buddy.
UTEP move to the Mountain West. Good move for the Mountain West. They need to stay alive, but they still only have 7 full members because Hawaii is only a football member. Everything else, they're not. They're in the Big West, so they still have to find one more. They're talking to Tarleton State because Texas State ultimately said no, which I think is a smart move. Why lead the Sun Belt for the Mountain West? It's a lot less money. It's a lot worse competition, and ultimately they could still accept an invite from the Pac-12. But the Pac-12 has played this so insanely smart, it's mind-boggling to me. Because the Pac-12 went out and got Gonzaga, and after they did that, they announced they're going to stop trying to persuade other teams to and expand, and they're going to work on getting a media deal. Once they get that media deal, they're going to persuade other colleges with that guaranteed money now they have from that media deal to expand their conference. Because right now they do have 8 members, but only 7 football teams. So if they get desperate, they could get Texas State if they can't manage to get teams like Memphis, Tulane, and USF. If they can't get them, they could go after Texas State. There's a lot of spark about Sacramento State. You know, if you guys have paid attention to headlines, they're building a new 25,000 seat stadium. Obviously, for Division One, that's not that big, but San Jose State, which is in the Mountain West, only has a 21,000 seat stadium. So we'll see how that goes. But a lot of concern right now about why Memphis and Tulane wouldn't is because ultimately money. You have to, instead of going out in the AAC, which is a bad conference in my opinion, but instead of going to North Texas and Tulsa and spending 2 days out there and on a 2-day trip, you gotta go all the way like a 10-day trip, spend the money on advisors, on the planes, sending all your college athletes, having them to take tests in like hotels, all the way in like Gonzaga, all the way in Washington State. Ultimately, is that going to be worth it for your young athletes to go across the country for better competition? Uncle Johnny, I know you have experience with this
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
with college athletics.
Yeah, I still think it's going to be a tough sell for them. I mean, even only because football is the main driver for most of the revenue in college,
Well,
and
the
it's still a
Pac-12
crappy.
is actually doing this by trying to build all kind of a basketball
I know
conference.
that. That's what I'm saying. Right?
They don't
They're
really care about the football aspect. They're just trying
right.
to build the best conference they
That's what
can.
I mean. I'm not sure that's going to pan out though. I mean, they really only have one really good basketball program right now. The rest of them are run of the mill. I mean, for as a rule, they are. They might get
San
hot.
Diego State, Gonzaga.
Gonzaga's it. San Diego State got lucky one year, and I don't know that you'll hear from them again. So I don't know. College athletics puts me to sleep anyway, but
I think it's a good move
to
for
me they're
Gonzaga
desperate.
because they left the
Yeah,
WCC.
I guess where else are they going to go?
They're gonna get more money in the Pac-12.
Right, they're going to be the superstars now.
They only had one really competition in that conference, which was St. Mary's, and now their only competitor really in basketball is San Diego State, which I think they could beat every year anyway, like they do with St. Mary's.
Right.
So
yeah, I don't know that lends itself for a lot of media money to watch one team beat up on somebody else all year long. They need to have some parity, and I don't know that they're going to get it. But I mean, you're talking Sacramento State's. I mean, how many students could possibly go there?
It's a growing market. Sacramento, even the Sacramento Kings said they would host the Sacramento State basketball games if they were to make that big jump.
Yeah, but even in the NBA, the Sacramento Kings are one of the smaller markets in the league. Nobody really wants to go there as a general rule. You're given a choice between Dallas or Atlanta or the Knicks or somebody like that. It's a tough sell. I mean, it's a small market. I don't know. I think they're just grasping at straws and whatever. I mean, Gonzaga, good for them. It can't hurt them in basketball, but in football, it's going to kill them. So, and football is where all the money comes in college athletics.
I mean, you got to give props to this Pac-12 for, I mean, at least trying to do the best they can because the Mountain West kind of like shipped them away. They said no to a merger. They said, hey, the Pac-2 was like, hey, can we merge our schedules for 2025? The Mountain West said no. So the Pac-12 is just doing what the best they can with, and I think they're doing a great job.
I give them an A for effort, but I'm not sure it's going to pan out.
We'll see. There's a lot of more news to come in the coming weeks. We'll have to see. This stuff takes time.
And think about it though. How do you attract a kid, a 5-star quarterback, to the Pac-12? You can't woo them with NIL money, most likely, because they don't have the same kind of money that bigger schools would have in the SEC or in the Big Ten or places like that.
Right, you don't.
And ultimately, without
NIL
that,
is kind of I don't like NIL. Small schools suffer ultimately.
Yeah, get in line. Yeah, everyone knew that was going to happen, but nobody really cared. So, I mean, literally, like it. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's the realignment.
It's not college athletics anymore. It's professional athletics. And you're paying people to play. That makes you a professional. So these kids are getting paid to play.
Next, let's look at the top games of the week. When we look at the college football games, this is a okay list. It's not one of the powerhouse weeks for college football, but there are some solid games. We're gonna run through this real quick. SMU 4-1 at ranked Louisville, who's 3-1. Louisville coming off a tough loss against Notre Dame last week. SMU is in the ACC now, ACC conference match. I'm gonna take Louisville at home.
I am too.
I'll never not go Louisville. So.
All right. Next, we got Boston College 4-1 at Virginia, who's surprisingly also 3-1 in this ACC. But Boston College is 4-1. I'm gonna have them keeping that win streak with Bill O'Brien. They're gonna beat Virginia at home.
I'm taking Virginia in this one.
Okay.
Why not? I will too.
Next, we have Pittsburgh, who's 4-0 somehow, going on the road to take on North Carolina, who's 3-2. Took a tough loss at Duke last week. Awful loss. But
you lose the Duke, you don't
going, I think.
Yeah.
I'm going to take North Carolina at home.
All right.
If you lose the Duke, you don't deserve to have a football helmet on your campus.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Okay.
Next, this is a Big Ten game. Could be good. We'll see how this Iowa offense does. But they're going on the road to take on Ohio State. It's Ohio State at home. They're not going to lose this game.
How's that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Boring.
Next, we have an Ole Miss
Well, but
team.
Ohio State,
Oh,
but if I was betting, I might take the points with Iowa.
maybe. We'll see. Next, we have Ole Miss, who took a loss to Kentucky. I'm living in Kentucky right now, so obviously people were excited around here. I can tell you that.
I'm sure they were. Yeah.
And 4-1, going on the road to take on a South Carolina team who's 3-1. Only loss coming to LSU in a tough one.
I'll still take Kentucky.
You mean Ole Miss?
Ole Miss, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is. I think Jackson Dart comes back. I think he's going to win on the road on South Carolina, but it's going to be a close game. Next, we got Virginia Tech 2-3 on the road, taking on Stanford 2-2 ACC matchup. I don't know if Virginia Tech goes all the way to California and beats a Stanford team. Not like it's a good Stanford team, but Virginia Tech's not good either.
No, for Stanford for me.
Stanford.
I know nothing about either one of them, so I'll just Stanford. I like their uniforms better.
West Virginia 2-2 going on the road to take on Oklahoma State, coming off a tough loss to Kansas State. Kansas State looks like it could be the best team in that Big 12, but I'm gonna take Oklahoma State at home here.
I agree with you.
Sure.
Next, we have Rutgers, who's 4-0, going on the road to take on Nebraska, who's 4-1. Give me Nebraska and knock off Patrick Mahomes.
Yep, I think so too.
Uncle Johnny, you know anything about that for that
Zero.
Nebraska quarterback? Really? Okay. Wow.
Nope.
Okay. Next, we
Can't
got
stand college
Tennessee.
football.
Next, we got Tennessee 4-0, going on the road to take on Arkansas, who's 3-2. Give me Tennessee. This Tennessee team still looks good.
Yeah, I think so too. I'll take Tennessee.
Great bet school in Tennessee. I'm taking Tennessee.
Yep.
Next, we got Michigan 4-1, going on the road to take on Washington, who's 3-2. Took a loss to Washington State, and they have another loss there. I'm taking Michigan on the road.
Michigan's got a 3-point underdog, and it seems kind of a screwy bet to me. I don't know. I'm going to go with Michigan again. They seem to be able to win for some reason this year. Well, I don't know, but they're winning.
They win close games.
Right.
Every game they play is close.
They're the Detroit Tigers of
Other than
college
Texas.
football right now. Everything is going right for them. So I'm going to take Washington in that game.
Wow, okay. Next we have UCF 3-1, going on the road to take on a Florida team who's 2-2. If Florida loses at home to a Florida team that's not even in a big conference,
Yeah. I got to take Florida at home.
UCF taking a loss to Colorado last week certainly didn't help at home. If Florida loses this game, Billy Napier is getting fired. That's just it has to be the case. I'm gonna take Florida at home, but don't be surprised if UCF can pull out a win. And then we have Duke, who's 5-0 somehow, but their wins have not looked impressive. North Carolina was the best win they had, and it was only by 1. Going on the road to take on a Georgia Tech team who's 3-2.
I think Georgia Tech burst their bubble.
I do too. I'm gonna take Georgia Tech there at home. Next, we have Miami 5-0 at California 3-1. This Miami team got lucky last week. If you heard anything about that, do you remember anything about that? In that Virginia Tech Hail Mary, the refs called hey, the defender was out of bounds when that ball was in the air that way, so the Hail Mary doesn't count.
Wow.
The Virginia Tech player caught it in the end zone, and the ref said no good because the defender was out of bounds when the ball was in the air. Apparently he tapped it. He tapped it while he was out of bounds or touched it while he was out of bounds. So automatically the ball's out of bounds. So the refs ruled that Virginia Tech was incomplete and Miami won the game. A lot of people were mad about that. A lot of ACC people were saying, hey, they just want to see Miami, the powerhouse, go forward so they can make the playoffs, screwing over smaller teams. But Miami going on the road to take on a California team all the way at California. I don't know. I'm going to take Miami, though.
Yeah, I don't know who's taking this game. I'll go with you. I'll take Miami.
All right. 2 more games left. Texas Tech 4-1 at Arizona. Arizona beat Utah last week in a shocker. I wanted to watch that game, but it was way too late at night. They end up winning 23-10. Texas Tech 4-1. I'm going to take Arizona at home.
Yeah, I am too.
They have one of the best receivers in the country. I think they win that game. Next, Missouri 4-0 at Texas A&M, who's also 4-1. I'm going to take A&M at home. I know Missouri's a top 10 team, but I personally think they're overrated. Their wins don't look that impressive. I'm taking A&M at home.
Yeah, I got to take the home team myself.
All right. And that was College Football Picks of the Week. Let's move on to the NFL. And then
Yay.
that'll be it. There, you can actually participate now. Here we
All
go.
right. I love it.
Last week, we actually had a pretty good week. The week before we went 7-9. This week, we both went 10-5.
Mm.
So my record's 17-14. Your guys is 17-14. We are all tied up,
Everybody's tied. Wow, that's crazy. All
which
right.
was insane because we both picked different games.
Yeah.
I picked the Colts to win, and they did somehow. I picked some shockers last week. I obviously went for some upsets, and they happened. Obviously, we both picked the Jets. They lost. I picked the Vikings. You guys picked. I believe you guys picked the Packers. I picked the
Probably.
Saints. You guys picked the Falcons. You guys
Right.
picked. I picked the Eagles. You guys picked the Bucks.
Hmm.
Both got the
Okay.
Bengals. I picked the Commanders. You picked the Cardinals, though. And I picked the Ravens, and they won. And you guys picked the Bills. But anyway, let's go. We don't got to talk about last week. Let's talk about this week. Thursday night football game's happening right now, but we're not going to cheat because the game's already happening right now. But when it comes to Sunday games, we have the Jets going on the road to take on the Vikings. Who's going to win that game?
I think this is the best bet of the week, the Vikings.
Vikings? Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good defense in the Jets, though. They can't score a single point. You know what? This is going to be my. I think this is the week that it all ends for Minnesota. I'm going to go the Jets.
Wow. Okay. Sam Darnold
Yeah.
does not win
He is not
against his
that good. He
former
really
team
is
at
not that
home.
good. He is not that good.
He's looked good
I
in the
don't know. I
past
can't
month.
figure out.
But the way the Jets are playing, I'm telling you, this to me, it takes your rubber band off your bankroll. Minnesota wins this easy at home.
This could be another 10-9 game, though. Quite honestly. Who knows?
Next, we have the Ravens at the Bengals. This Bengals team has 1-3, but the Ravens looked really impressive.
Yeah, Ravens
taking
will
on
win
the
this one.
Bills. Ravens?
Baltimore for me.
I'm going to take the Bengals here in a shocker at home.
Okay.
Yeah, you know,
They
I
need
think
to
I
win
might go with
games.
Bengals too. Just a
Okay.
hunch. No logic to it
Yeah.
whatsoever.
They're at home, you know, so.
They're better than what they've been playing, I think.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah,
But
I know
we'll
what you
see.
mean.
I don't know.
Next,
I'm
we
still
have the
taking Baltimore.
Colts.
They look tough to me.
The Colts, who are 2-2, going on the road to take on the Jaguars. I don't know if Anthony Richardson's going to play in this game, but I believe
Doesn't
he is.
matter.
He's going to
Yeah,
say he's
doesn't
much,
matter.
much
You're
better.
right.
You
I
think
could
the
play
Jaguars lose
quarterback
this
and
game?
beat the Jaguars.
You think Joe
Yeah.
Flacco
Yeah.
can beat the Jaguars?
I think you could beat the Jaguars.
At
Quite
Jacksonville?
honestly. Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence is
terrible.
having an identity crisis.
They're terrible, and their
Yeah.
confidence is bad. And they
Right.
have a coach that doesn't know what buttons to push anymore. This is imploding.
Yeah, you're
He
right.
may not
It is,
make
yeah.
the 8th game.
Huh.
I mean, they have literally maybe one of the best talents in the whole league in Trevor Lawrence, and they just can't seem to do anything with him. So
Yeah.
that's tough.
I think he's losing confidence, so he's having a tough time, I tell you.
Yeah, anybody that's associated with Urban Meyer is bad news. And this kid got
Organization,
right off the
yeah.
bat. So and it didn't help.
You guys
Yeah,
are
I
taking
just
the
don't
Colts?
think it's a good mix. The chemistry is bad there.
Yeah.
I think they're going to lose anybody.
Call me crazy.
Watch.
I'm going to take the Jaguars at home. They get their first
Yeah.
win. This
Hey.
Colts team is just inconsistent. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't pick them on an away game here.
They can
So-
run the ball though.
They can, but
That
that's
they can
about
do.
it.
So
Right.
Next, we have the Dolphins going on the road to take on the Patriots. This should not be a good game.
I know.
this is.
I'm gonna take the Dolphins. I just think the Patriots really stink.
Really?
I don't even know who the quarterback for the Dolphins is going to be.
I know.
I'm taking the Patriots.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Patriots only because they're the worst of the better of the two bad teams.
Right.
But either one of these guys could win.
It's running
Honestly, they're
quarterback
both
versus running
awful.
quarterback. We have
I like
Tyler Huntley
Miami's
versus
coach.
Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, I love their coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love their coach too. He's my kind of dude.
So who you guys
But
taking?
they literally are throwing out the punter as the quarterback, though. I mean, that's not a
Yeah.
joke.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
they have no one.
So who you guys taking?
I'm
I'm
picking
gonna do
Miami.
Miami?
Yeah, New England for me.
Oh.
Miami for me.
Next game we got here is the Browns going on the road to take on the Commanders. Jay Daniels just looked good. I'm taking the Commanders. at home.
Commanders all day long for me.
I hate Deshaun Watson, so I'll always bet against the Browns. So, Commanders.
Yeah.
All right.
I
mean, the
take
Browns
Chippewa
are still
Valley
good.
against the Browns at this point.
How about Dakota? Dakota's number 2 in the state.
Either one. Yeah, both of them.
Next we have the Bills on the road against the Texans. This should be a good game. 1:00 game too. Bills going
I
on the
think the
road.
Bills bounce back.
Stephon Diggs.
They haven't
revenge
shown me
game.
squat this year so far. So, I like the Texans myself.
I'm taking the Texans. Stephon Diggs revenge game. They get their revenge. Especially
Okay.
it's home too. Who are you
I think
taking here?
I'm taking.
I'm taking.
I'm taking the Bills.
and I'm
Oh,
taking the Texans.
okay.
I think the Bills have missed their window for glory.
Next, we have the Panthers going on the road to take on the Chicago Bears. Both teams are inconsistent. I don't know.
Dismal
This is a
matchup too.
toss-up.
I'm taking the
I'll go.
Bears.
Yeah,
I'll
I'll
go
go with the
Bears as
Bears too.
well.
Carolina is awful.
Right.
Andy Dalton, I mean, he fixed things for one game against the Raiders, but then you come back the next week.
The Raiders are awful too. So yeah.
Yeah, so next we got the Cardinals going on the road to take on the 49ers. This should be an interesting game.
But I think the 49ers smoke them.
Smoke them, okay.
Yeah, I think that they'll win too. Without the
So
points, I think they'll win for sure. Although Arizona's sneaky good, I think.
they are. They've taken some tough losses against the
Yeah.
Commanders
They played good
and the
teams, though. I mean,
Lions. They
honestly,
played good teams.
yeah, they played really good teams. So
Don't be shocked if they pull up a sneaky upset against this injury-prone 49ers team.
49ers are home, though, so that makes a difference,
They
too.
are home.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
honestly, in the NFC West, home doesn't really matter all that much.
Hmm.
Because you look at the Lions-Arizona game, half the crowd was Lions fans.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you're right.
You never know what stadium's going to be full. Like LA
Yeah.
Rams Stadium,
Yeah.
you never
Right.
know. Like next we have the Green Bay Packers going on the road to take on the Rams.
And I think the Packers, the Rams will beat up so bad, you know.
yeah,
I'm going with
I don't know.
Green
As much
Bay.
as it pains
Rams
me to
took
say
a
it, but I
tough
think
loss to the Bears last week. I don't know
Yeah.
what happened to that team.
if you can't beat the Bears, you're not going to beat the Packers. That's for sure. They're going to be 0-for against the NFC North this year.
Right, right.
In a 5-week span too, which is insane to
Mhm.
think about.
Yeah.
Taking on every single NFC North opponent before you take on your own conference or own division is kind of crazy. I guess that just proves that NFC North might be the best division in football, maybe.
Could be.
So we all taking the Packers here?
Yep.
All right. Next we got the Giants going on the road to take on the Seahawks. Give me the Seahawks at home.
Me too. Seahawks easy.
This is a
Yeah.
no-brainer here.
New York is terrible.
Next we got the Cowboys going on the road to take on the Steelers.
I'm taking the Steelers
3-1.
at home. Steelers at home.
Oh,
I am too. Actually, I think the Cowboys are
wow.
a sham.
Maybe.
Can't run the ball. You're going to have a hard day, long day.
Here's the thing: you can't really do that on that Steelers run defense anyway, and the Cowboys don't have a run game, and I don't think they're going to need it this game ultimately anyway. I think they're going to pass the ball heavily against this Cowboys secondary, and I think they pull out a sneaky win.
Okay.
Who, Dallas does?
Yeah, Dallas does.
Okay.
I think they're going to get hammered.
Against the Steelers secondary. My fault. And next we have Monday night game, Saints at the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs. I mean,
Me too.
I
They
know
stay
the Chiefs.
undefeated.
I know Rasheed Rice has that knee issue. It could be a lot of people think it's that torn ACL that Mahomes
They have not
has.
looked very good, though, all year, honestly.
I know they've just been sneaking by, haven't they? Yep.
Patrick
They've-
Mahomes does not look good.
They've won just by sheer luck alone in a lot of
I
cases.
agree.
but-
I agree. A couple of those games
Yeah.
they should have lost.
So are we
you
taking
know what?
the
I'm going to
Chiefs or
take New Orleans in this game.
Ooh,
All right, why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's all the segments I got for this week. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you guys in the next
All right,
week.
Grandpa
Thank
signing
you guys
off.
for listening.
Grandpa's out. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
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 Thank you guys.
Yep. Bye.
Okay, it's over.